Hello, I'm Beverly Hosford, the editor and publisher for the NFPT, the National Federation of Professional Trainers. We're a personal training certification and continuing education company, and we have a very wide network of trainers that we like to call family all over the country. And I'm really excited because today I've got Ian Nimblett with me. He is one of our trainers. He's also a blogger on our site, and we're going to chat a little bit about his business today. He's got a really neat story. And Ian, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Beverly. Thank you so much for having me on. Thank you, everybody, for having me on here as well. I'm Ian Nimblett. I'm the owner and lead trainer here at Premier Fitness. And we're located in South Salem, New York. And I have many certifications, certified functional strength coach, certified strength and conditioning specialist, as well as NFPT certified, and a few others as well.
That's awesome. When did you get your first certification, Ian?
Way back in 2009, actually, it was NFPT. It was my first certification, and it's hard to believe it's been almost 10 years now. It's been a pretty wild ride, to say the least.
What happened before the certification? You know, some trainers like get into it, like they're already training and they get certified. Others are just really into fitness.
Yeah, a great question. I always had a desire for athletics, and being an athlete is something that I did growing up. I played high school as well as college basketball, and so for me, athletics, being an athlete, working out, that sort of thing, really came natural to me. I actually started off in sales right out of college, and it wasn't for me. It was actually through Charles DeFrancesco, and hopefully I said his last name right. He's also a contributor to NFPT. I actually sold him advertising, and we got to talking one day, and he was just like, you should really think about becoming a trainer. We developed a nice relationship, and so we talked about that. I started asking him some questions, and then my wife was really the biggest, asset when it came to, or contributor to, becoming a trainer. She said, yeah, this is something you definitely should do. So first and foremost, none of this would ever be anywhere possible if it wasn't for my wife, Nicole. So between her, Charles, again, sales wasn't my thing, but it was really that whole athletic background and desire to, be your best you. And little did I know at the time was like, wow, I actually really liked learning more about the field, of course. I was, completely green to it. And then having a desire to want to help people. So I already knew I loved to work out, but that wasn't enough. It was, that passion to help people. And that was something that developed pretty quickly.
That's awesome. So they saw in you that you're really good at selling, but then you have a desire to sell something that's really, really important because selling gets a bad rap, but like
Oh, right. Absolutely.
we kind of have to sell anything. Like you have to
Right.
sell your spouse on a vacation, you have to sell your child on eating their vegetables. Like, so if you're a
Exactly.
gifted salesperson, why not put it to something?
Good you.
And
Absolutely.
just before we dive into the rest of your story, when you say none of this would be possible, what is this? Tell me about your awesome facility real quick.
Yeah, so we've just recently expanded. We went from 3,000 square feet over 3 years ago. That's when we started our original Premier Fitness, which was we have 2 floors now. So we went from 3,000 square feet to 8,300 square feet. So it's pretty massive, and is really a dream come true. We have an amazing client base, to amazing community, I should say. And it's just amazing looking back on how far it's actually come from really having no equipment and just kind of starting out with clean slate to what it's really evolved to what it is now. It's pretty remarkable.
How many clientele do you have in this space?
Yeah, so right now we're about 110 right now.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yep. Uh, but
That's
it wasn't always like that, I'll tell you, and you'll hear the rest of the story about this. But it's just like anything; it takes time to build, and certainly it didn't start off like that. And there was a lot of hard times and a lot of adversity. But it's like anything in life: you have a goal and you stick with it, and you got to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And really, that's what we've done. And so it's been a great experience. I would never trade it for the world. So.
wow. So how did you come you became a trainer and then where did tell us where you trained and then how did you land up going from trainer to having your own space if there even was a gap?
Yep. So I started out doing a lot of concierge-based training. I did supplement my income with working at like, a box gym, that sort of thing, just get my feet wet there, of course. But really it was the concierge training that I would do where I'd go to people's houses, go to their work facility, and actually bring the gym to them. I actually used to have like a 70-gallon, one of those, I can still picture it right now because I had all my gym stuff in there, agility ladders, bring the slam balls, some resistance bands, etc. Just enough to get the job done, I like to say. So I'd be carting that around in my car, and I'd be seeing about 6 different clients or 6 different types of sessions a day. And I did that for about 7 years, 6.5, 7 years or so. Which was great, and met a lot of great people, when I was doing that, and it wouldn't trade that again for anything. And it really helped me hone my skills, really develop, my philosophies, methodologies when it comes to training. And it wasn't until then where I was just like, I want people to come to me for a change. It's kind of weird to say, but, I just love training, and I love the idea of, having something that was my own, and I had an opportunity to, really set some goals down, and that started with 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. And for me, a 10 year goal was to actually open up my own studio. Things fortunately worked out quicker than expected. So really around year 7, I was able to, make that a jump, I guess, to be able to open up my own facility.
Wow. So how did you find your space, or like
Yeah,
picking
yeah,
out the place? Not,
yeah.
this the same place you're in right now is where you started?
So this is actually the renovated space. This is the downstairs. So this is where we do our team training and our sports performance. So upstairs right now, there's small group and one-on-one training going on. But I wanted to keep it quiet, so I said I'm just going to bring it downstairs.
Yeah.
So this is the new renovated space. This actually used to be a health club. Actually, upstairs used to be a health club when we first took over too. And it was just kind of set vacant for a while, and we had an opportunity, which I'll tell you more about in a second, with our expansion. But we just had an opportunity to do that, and so we did. But to answer your original question about how do we, find this space, it was actually through one of our original members. We had an opportunity where we were doing an outdoor boot camp actually at her house, and it took off, and it was actually right down the road from here. And it went so well that she was just like, hey, Ian, we got to keep this going. It's starting to get cold. This was summer 2014. We carried this on until like late October. And by then it was the point where it wasn't safe to be outside. It was rainy, it was wet, starting to get cold. And we actually had a bad winter that year. But so she actually told me about this place, and, negotiated with the landlord for a little bit. And then finally we settled on a price, and just made it happen. So we opened the doors December of 2014. In our upstairs space that we had, which is about 3,000 square feet.
Okay. And you had, so did the lighting, you said something about the lighting playing in when we talked?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So for me, we looked at other places as well. So like, okay, I'm just going to go with this one place. Couple of things that we considered were location, of course. Parking is a big thing, especially in this area. It's hard to find, lots of parking. Also, ceiling height. There's so many gyms that we looked at, or potential spaces that had really low ceilings. And for me, whether it's the team setting where we do jump roping to skipping, jumping, plyometrics to, even training our athletes, like doing Olympic lifts and stuff, we wanted to make sure that we had plenty of, real estate, plenty of ceiling height, so no one would obviously get hurt. And we wanted a great experience. So that certainly was considerations, and just overall square footage too. For us, finding enough square footage for what our type of training philosophy is, which is very function-based training. So when you're here in Beverly, you got to come by here sometime, or I'll have to show you a video at least. But we don't have any machines, so we needed spaces to push, pull, carry. Do lots of lunges, pull sleds, that sort of thing. So it's not your conventional gym, to say the least. It's something much more. It's something much different.
Gotcha. And how did you find all of the equipment that you do have, like the sleds and you would tell me something interesting about your wife and how she.
Oh, yeah. Well, for us, I always, even from day one doing the concierge training is, I didn't have a lot of space, so I had to make sure every square inch really counted. And for me, it was like, and it really meshed well with my philosophy too, is, I don't believe in training with machines, that's neither here nor there, but machines take up a lot of room. And for us, like, I feel like the best coaches can really get a full body with, 5x5 space.
Yep.
And then on top of that, if I want to train the masses and have more people and have a good experience, I feel like I need more room and that sort of thing. And so that's really kind of how it all kind of really came together. And when it came to our equipment, we have stuff now, and it didn't start off this way, but now we have everything from, big rack systems, for chin-up bars, squats, deadlifts, that sort of thing. We can train many people, especially in a small group setting together. It's great with the suspension trainers, plyo boxes, sleds, kettlebells, obviously free weights, barbells, that sort of thing. So with that, Perform Better, we actually get all of our equipment from them. And throughout the years, going to their seminars and just kind of seeing what were the latest and greatest things out there. So that's really something that I've always kept my eyes open on is, one day when I got to an opportunity, what would I add to the gym? And, here we are. So
That's awesome. So tell me about this expansion. So you started with the downstairs space and then
upstairs, and the upstairs is actually the main level. So
okay.
downstairs is actually below level.
Okay.
So, by the looks of here, it doesn't appear that way. We have lots of lighting. We actually have this huge pond out back that it's a great view. And high ceilings here. We actually, we gutted everything. We ripped down before again, this was a health club. It had drop down ceilings. So really dark, multiple rooms. We expanded, opened up everything. And just everything's brand spanking new. So from the flooring to the turf that Perform Better put in, we just knew that if we were going to do this, we wanted to do it the right way, and which is a much different approach from when we started. When we started, we didn't have any equipment. I had a Bosu ball. I can actually name off what we had. We had a Bosu ball, a few exercise mats, and I think we had a couple battling ropes, and that was it. And some light dumbbells and resistance bands, but that was literally it. And so, just like anything, it takes time to build, and we did little by little, add a little bit more, and so. Great. But yeah.
So then, you were the upstairs. Was the upstairs a gym before you?
Yeah, that's where a lot of that was also like part of the health club, and it just like I said, there was very few members that were there. It was really sat vacant most of the time, actually. And so we kind of put it out of its misery, really. And so I looked at it as a huge opportunity. It's something like in this area, there's not any, we're the first function-based training facility in the area. I'm really proud to say that because a lot of times, as it takes time to educate people, not only in this case trainers, but also people around us. So we're so used to that conventional wisdom, like I got to sit on the machine to get a good workout, or I got to jump on the treadmill for 45 minutes to an hour. And really, over these past 3 years, it's been just, educating the public, and, since we've really done that, more and more people are having an open mind to try it. And, and we just, our member base just continues to grow and grow and grow. So.
Gotcha. Wow. So the original space upstairs was available, and then their space opened up later, or you just didn't want to have both spaces to start?
At the start, all we needed was the 3,000 upstairs.
Yeah.
There was talks originally about me taking over the whole 8,300. 3 years ago, that was just too much to take on.
Right.
Going from zero to that, I don't know if I could. There's no way I could have done it. So, what got to for us for the expansion is for the first 2 years, it was just me as the trainer. And I got to a point where I was training 15, 16 sessions a day, which is outrageous. It was a lot. It was a lot. And we couldn't offer all the services. Eventually, I brought in another trainer because I was working so much. But we couldn't offer all the services I wanted to. Before it was just team training at a certain time, and when team training was going on, you couldn't really offer one-on-one. And then we knew we wanted to offer small group training eventually later on, which we did. But we got to the point where if we had all three services on the same time, or kind of scheduled with each other, and it got too hectic, and that wasn't the kind of experience. For me, it's all about the experience for the client. And so that was our first sign of, okay, we need to actually expand. So, and so it's been great because we brought team training downstairs. lots of usable rectangular space right here. So in my opinion, team training, it's like the best kind of setup is when you have more rectangular space for the team setting. And then, sports performance is something we've never really done. We've only done like in the one-on-one sector. So now we actually have the opportunity to have upstairs, we call it the strength area where we do one-on-one and small group. And then downstairs here in this space, we do the team setting. So whether it's sports or, adults, large group.
Wow.
So it's really worked out much better.
I hate asking this, but are there any
Sure.
CrossFit gyms in your area? Just because next
Yeah.
closest thing to functional training, but I know they're a whole different animal.
We get that question quite a bit. More so like, are you guys CrossFit? But to answer your question, in the town I live in, which is the next town over, Ridgefield, there is actually right across from where I live. There's a CrossFit place. There's like another town over on the other side that has like one or two. With CrossFit, it's more of the education again to the public. Is a lot of people, they see similar movements and like, oh, they're seeing a sled, it's CrossFit. They see a barbell, oh, it's CrossFit. There's no machine, okay, that means it's CrossFit. And so for me, I take it as an opportunity to just educate. I always say there's got to be some positives. I think, in my opinion, CrossFit has made group exercise popular. So for that, that's pretty cool. Other things, when it comes to programming, when it comes to how things are done and trying to beat your best time, and sometimes the form gets sacrificed. Actually, it will, no matter how good you are at Olympic lifts and stuff like that over time. So for us, it's all about quality and not quantity. And so just the form is our big push. And certainly some of our exercises aren't all the same and stuff like that. So just educating the public about how we're different.
Yeah, obviously, you've done a good job of differentiating yourself from them. And certainly it's a whole different model. What do you like the best about having your own facility now? You kind of touched on it in the beginning, like why you wanted it, but now that you actually have your own facility, some people get their own facility and then they kind of regret it, but it sounds like you're really into this. So what do you like about it?
Well, I like something that's my own. Every day, it's different when you're working for somebody. It's don't get me wrong, you should always have passion for what you do, but there's something about when it's all on you. It's your name on the wall, it's your name on the door, whatever it is. And so having something that's my own, it's something that I've created. Having a place where you can get people, you can change their lives, and that's the big thing, and you have control of it. And so for that, I think that's the thing that gets me amped every day. 3 years later, almost 10 years overall in the field, but 3 years later of having Premier Fitness, I'm still as passionate, still as inspired, still as motivated, still as excited as I was 3 years ago. And so, obviously with the expansion, that brings up new challenges. And, I think that's what really gets me going. And I think that, 3 years later, I can still say that, yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, but it's something that I'm still excited about to this day. So I know it was the right decision.
That's awesome. And and certainly the best things in life are challenging. As I found out this year becoming a mom, it's like the hardest thing I've ever done, but it's so amazing. So I'm with you. Like challenges are what keep us alive and invigorated. So tell us about some of the challenges.
Well, you just touched upon it actually, Beverly. Family time. One of the things that's great about my wife is, whenever I'm feeling bad about, my daughter's now 5. When we opened the gym, she was just turned 2. And so for me, it was, and actually she let me know right away, it's not about the quantity, it's the quality. And so whenever I'd have times where sometimes she'd bring Marley over to the gym, we made the time count. And so for me, it's the family time. And drawing a balance, my wife, she started off really consulting with the business here. And that been a huge game changer, by the way, because when you're training all the clients, it's really impossible to do the business side of things. So having her business mind, having her help has been a huge game changer. And so anyways, going back to the point of family time is drawing the line sometimes, because I remember there was one point where Nicole and I would talk for 2 weeks straight of just business. And we would realize we don't have life anymore. We're not talking about anything outside of Premier. And so that was something that we immediately started setting like ground rules of, hey, we're going to make sure we eat dinner together as a family. We're going to stop talking business at, 9 o'clock or whatever it is, or we're not going to talk about business the next morning until if I'm here and she's at home. We're not gonna do a phone call. It's like, hey, when she gets in at 8:30 or whatever, then we'll address business matters. So, but setting those ground rules has really helped. But that's still always a challenge, is drawing that line of, certainly you always want more quantity time, but again, just keep it in balance. Quality is really the big thing. So that's been a challenge of mine. Staffing, I hate to say it. I love our guys. We have great coaches. We have 3 coaches. They're great. But no one's ever going to care about your business the way you do. And so, for me, it's been a learning experience. It's being able to accept things, still develop them, of course, as trainers, and have them follow your methodology, principles, et cetera, and the way you would do it. But then also recognizing, okay, where are we at the goal level? And for me, it's at the end of the day, if I look at what's the most important, it's just the client. Are they leaving with a smile on their face? Are they happy to be at Premier? I always want I want Premier Fitness to be the best part of their day. And so when they do those things, maybe they might, not cue the exercise the way I want them to, or maybe they mess up the order or something, that because I'm kind of anal like that or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's the client and they're happy. So those are adjustments I'm continually making. And I think the transition, from the expansion, certainly, anytime you present challenge or change, I should say, there's always a challenge to that. A lot of times people will say, I want it the way it was. I want to be upstairs, or I wanted, for us, the first 2 years when it was just me as a trainer, that was a challenge, because when I started introducing more coaches, we call them coaches, more trainers, or our first trainer, it was like, oh, I don't want to train with him. I only want to train with you, Ian. I've always trained with you. And so that's always been a transition of just overcoming those different, challenges. But, fortunately, it's one of those, you look back at it and you're like, oh, it's super stressful. Now you look at it and it's like, okay, see, we got past that. It's not as bad as we thought. So transitioning is always challenging, and those new challenges that present itself.
How did you get people to be okay with training with somebody else other than you?
Great question. I think that a lot of it just comes down to the why. I think that anything in life, there has to be a why behind it. And so our why is it's not Ian the trainer, it's our principles, our methodologies. And I believe right from the get-go, for any business owners, you got to control your product. And from what that means to me is, the way, the exercises, the program design, all that's done by me. I create all that. And it's just really our trainers just kind of execute it. And so this way, it doesn't matter if someone were to come or go, you're getting Ian's workouts.
Wow.
So from that right there, I really control the product right there. And that's a big thing, is really educating people, is just like, hey, you're not going to be training with me, Beverly, but you got the next best thing. You got Jake or Dan or whoever, you're going to train you, and you're going to get a great workout, and they're following my program, my principles.
Huh. And how do the coaches feel about that? They're okay with that. They follow.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. They're completely on board with it. There is some autonomy that goes with this too. Certainly, sometimes if I call for, a sandbag clean or whatever, sometimes they'll do it in a kettlebell clean, or if it's applicable or appropriate for the client. So there's definitely some autonomy there. But absolutely, they're 100% on board. One of the things that we do is, we don't just throw them on the training floor and say, okay, go train a client. They go through what I call Premier Ready, which is essentially almost looks like an internship, basically, where they got to show mastery of exercises, mastery of how we do things, the why behind what we do, so they can speak intelligently about it and, really deliver that outstanding experience for the client.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Yeah, I know there's a lot of even fitness instructors out there that they like having the program handed to them. If you look at Turbo Kick or Les Mills, they like that they don't have the pressure of coming to the workout, because that's a lot of work. So
absolutely, it's a lot of work, and what I want them to do is not have to think about the programming. I just want them to execute it, and if they execute the plan, the client's going to be really happy. They're going to be much happier, because like you just said, they're not going to be stressed and be like, okay, what do I need to do? It's already taken care of for them. And then, of course, occasionally there's going to be a couple of things where, a client comes in and just say, hey, I just can't squat today, or I'm not into it. And then they make adjustments on the fly. But even still, it's so much easier for them than have to design a whole program or a workout or anything like that.
Yeah, that's great. So you interview these folks, and then they have to go through kind of an internship before they can start. Awesome.
Yep. So we have a 12-week program. We call it our feeder program, and it's a great opportunity for the potential trainer to find out right away, like if this is the right fit for them. A lot of times, if you interview someone, they might wow you the first time, and then come week 2, they're like, this isn't for me, and it's just not a good situation. So over the course of 12 weeks, we really get a good indication of what their track record's like. Is A, are they learning, and B, are they showing competency on certain movements? And so we test them for all this stuff. And for us, it's really worked out really well because by the time they're ready to hit the floor, A, the clients have already seen them. So now it's not like, oh, who's this new person. They've already seen them on the floor, observing that sort of thing for 12 weeks. And then come week 13, it's just like, yeah, I'm ready to train with Coach Dan. I'm ready to train with Coach Jake. And it really works out much better this way for everybody.
How did you come up with that model?
I wish I could say I made that up myself. So one of the things that, and I would recommend this to any business owner, is get a mentor. Absolutely get a mentor. For me, I made a lot of mistakes starting out, especially when it was just me here. Even before my wife consulted, I made a lot of mistakes. I wasted a lot of money, a lot of time. But getting a mentor, that's been a game changer. It's an investment. It's a smart investment. There's a lot of different mentors out there. But having that mentorship to, put you in the right direction. What are some really good things to consider? What's really worked? What hasn't? And these are things that could save you, again, time, money, lots of frustration. And it's been a huge game changer. Everything from, how we charge our clients to, just some of the basic operational things, things that I would have never even thought about before. So it's really helped us tenfold for sure.
Who's your mentor? How did you find them? You don't even have to reveal them to us, but
Yeah. So Thomas Plummer has been a huge influence for me, not only as a business owner, but actually as a person too. Like I constantly seek out advice from him, whether it's over the phone to some of his workshops that he's done. There's other mentors too. I mean, there's so many different ones you can go through, from Todd Durkin to Alan Cosgrove, Rick Mayo, Frank Nash. The list goes on and on. But for me, definitely Thomas Plummer has been the biggest influence, and it's really, again, drastically helped Premier Fitness to get to where it is now.
that's awesome. Do you pay him as a mentor? I'm just curious. Or yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Just
absolutely.
for our audience to know, because I feel
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
people are always
Like I said, I think
contact
that,
to like pick my brain or whatever.
yeah, it's an investment. I always say it's, because, there's so much information out there, just like in training. You could look up, you know, designing programs, and you could look at, everyone has different methodologies or philosophies and stuff like that. And it's just trying to filter all the information. And I think the same thing was a mentor. I mean, for me, I was looking for something very specific, when it came to, the fitness business part of it. And when I came across Thomas Plummer, it was something I was instantly hooked. It was like, he got it. I got it, I should say. And it really worked out from there.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, I did want to know a little bit about the finances, since you seemed open to sharing. Like when you got started, like, did you have to take out a loan, or did you have some money laying around?
So I did everything probably backwards. One of the things was, going back to when I was a concierge trainer, is, I immediately set personal and business goals. And one of them was a 1 year, 3 year, 10 year. My 10-year was to open up my gym. But to do that, I knew I was going to have some money in the bank. I didn't end up going with a loan at all when we first started. I had about $20,000, a little less than 20 actually, with startup costs. Looking back, I'm like, man, it would have been a lot easier if I did get a loan. I kind of did something a little bit more the conventional, traditional way. But for me, I just kind of jumped right in there and said, I'm going to do this. So I had about 20,000 to kind of start off with another like 3,000, 2 to 3,000 of like fixed assets if I needed it. And like I said, I didn't start with much, but then it just started growing, and it wasn't until the expansion where I did actually start getting loans and stuff like that to, do build outs. When we had the upstairs space, again, it was already like perfect from, they had flooring in place, they had mirrors, stuff that was left over. So it wasn't like there was a build out cost. But that's what it took to get started originally. And so, I became very quickly the IT man, the painter, you janitor, everything. I did it all. And that some of the things that just needed to cut corners, cut costs, that sort of thing. Uh, but yeah, we're very fortunate. We kind of got into a situation where it just kind of fell into place versus having to do a complete build out.
That's awesome. Are you still your own janitor, or do you have somebody that comes?
So it's actually nice. We do have a cleaning company. I wish they came every day. They come about 2 times a week. Um, Myself as well as the other coaches. The other coaches take on more of the cleaning than I do, though I do try to pull my own weight. But we're always tidying up. We're always cleaning up. Now we have 2 bathrooms, 2 showers, in addition to there's a little bit more maintenance there involved, and of course now almost triple the square footage is more to clean. But as a team, we definitely take our part in cleaning it all together, and so far we're doing a pretty good job. Everyone always says we have a very clean gym, so we're doing something right.
And do you have someone that does your accounting for you now, or like taxes?
Yeah, we have an accountant, which is huge. I always say, don't get into this without that. That's, that's my advice at least. We meet with our accountant. We should probably meet with them a little bit more than we do. Just kind of go over some of the numbers. But yeah, we have an accountant for that, and then our own tracking too of just projections and stuff like that. So we constantly know what's coming in, what's coming out. What are we planning for, that sort of thing.
That's great. And do you have a lawyer or somebody that's written up documents for you, or?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With our expansion, especially, we originally started off with was it legal? I forget what it was called, but it was like, oh, I can't remember the name of it. But it was like online legal thing or whatever when we started. It'll come to me. It'll come to me afterwards. But with the expansion, there was just too many variables. So definitely hiring a lawyer. It's such a necessary investment. Certainly, you don't want to get in a situation where you agree to something and something's different in the contract. And so I just say do your due diligence and get your attorney for sure.
Well, then my last question, as far as like people that help you, is do you have anyone that does social media for you? Because you had said that social media was a really big part of getting this started, and I would just love to know, like, how that you obviously did it in the beginning. Does anyone do it now? And how did you find social media? Like, what's your tactic with it?
Yeah. So social media, like you said, is just what we've talked about previously. It's been huge for our business. We've tried other forms of advertising, direct mailers, newspapers, even some more direct form of advertising. Just didn't really work out well for us. Facebook, even Instagram. There's a couple other social media sites, but really Facebook, Instagram. It's a great way to reach a lot of people without a huge investment. And so between my wife and I, we were actually doing that ourselves. It was originally just me. Actually, some of our clients actually tease me quite a bit because they call me Spielberg because I'm always like filming, I'm finding different angles. I want people to believe that we got a whole camera crew. I don't know if you've ever seen it in your videos, but I always try to make it look world class or whatever. So that's like the big joke. They call me Spielberg when I get the camera out. So we have, yeah. So my wife and I, we really just share the duties with that, and just trying to create, viable content for people who want to, take time out of their busy day, click a like or check it out, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, definitely having some help for sure because, days could go by and be like, I didn't post anything. And so just like anything, it's staying on top of it. And being consistent. It's like we preach to our clients, you got to be consistent to get results. Same thing when it comes to bringing in leads, you got to be consistent and nothing is going to happen by accident. Like for where we're located, we're not located on the street. So we're not going to get that foot traffic per se. We're in the back of a shopping plaza, so we know that we got to get the message out there. And so for us, it's consistency and just being active, and trying to create good content where people are going to want to be like, hey, I got to check this place out. Like,
Yeah,
who is this?
that's
So
a good analogy right there.
thank you. Thank you.
So, as we wrap up today, I'm just curious as someone who works and I have kids and we're all as trainers, we're so passionate about what we do in the fitness industry. So what do you talk about when you're not talking about work or the kids? What you know what I mean?
That's a really good question. For me, it's there's not a lot of extra time. I used to be a video gamer. I'm sure when my wife watches the video, she's gonna roll her eyes. So like you try to have outlets like that. Obviously, working out is a huge outlet for me. But doing things for fun, it just, honestly, I just love watching my daughter do gymnastics, and she's doing Ninja Warrior now. And so for me, that's like, and I get some extra time, I'll hang out with some of my friends and, of course, family and stuff like that. But yeah, this has really been my life. This has been a 24/7 type of thing. And it's a lot of sacrifices on the way. But, for me, it's just, I guess it's more family time. I guess that's really my passion. And, so it doesn't leave me a lot of time for other things. Like I said, I used to be a gamer, I guess, but now it's just more of just, just trying to have more quality time with the family.
Yeah. No, I joke around with my husband because he's like, "Can we talk about something other than the children or your work or my work?"
Uh,
My husband owns his own business. I own my own business, and um, I'm like, "That's what we do, though. We have a kid and we've got businesses. Like, we're not at the phase in life where we're like playing pool or I don't know." We ski, but like, yeah, I just, my motto this year is just like, be okay with what you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I do agree though. Like, you probably don't want to be talking about business at the breakfast table when you could be talking about your daughter and her
Right.
gymnastics or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
Um, I think like anything, it's just having that balance is just trying to get as much balance as you can. And hopefully, what keeps my mind on the prize is just thinking of, okay, what's that next thing to happen? What's 3 years from now? What's 5 years from now? And for me, I'm hoping that, as much as I love training clients, I'm always going to train clients. I'm hoping that it becomes, more of the other coaches training and more quantity time now, with the family and going on vacations. And so that's the stuff that kind of, keeps my mind, out there. It's just like, all right, well, I'm putting all this hard work in now, and I've already done this in 3 years. So what do those next 3 years look like? Even after this expansion, and so, just having that sight of or dreaming a little bit, I guess. I guess that's the thing, is having a goal and just chasing after it. And I think for me, it's going to become, even more family stuff. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're on the right track. So
Yeah.
just one last question. What do you do for your own workout and like what's your eating philosophy?
Okay, great question. So this is going to sound weird. I actually train the same way I train my clients. I don't know if that sounds weird or not. So I'm a big believer in full body workouts, multi-joint. We push, we pull, we carry. We do things that hit is all the movement patterns that need to be done. So hinging, lunging, pulling, pushing, like I said earlier, getting some core work, all along of just hitting full body workouts. So usually I work out. A lot of people get disappointed when I say I don't work out every day. I don't work out every day. 3 to 3, sometimes 4 days a week. And sometimes I'm lucky if I get the third day. Sometimes 3 days could be. But I just make it just like anything else. It's up to me. It's all quality. So I'll know like, hey, if I need to back off a little bit of my training, or maybe I could add that fourth day in. But I just that's how I really kind of work out, is just make sure I don't, miss any of the bases, and cover all the big lifts, and really get complete workouts. And nutrition wise, I'd be lying to you if I said, oh, I eat 100% clean, 'cause that's not the case. I think that I follow what Precision Nutrition advocates, which is the 80-20. Try to eat 80% clean. 20% you got to have fun. You got to live your life, or it's not sustainable. And so the same thing I preach to my clients is it's about trying to work around limiting factors. For me, it's always the time, just like for most of our clients, right? It's the same thing. It's time, and just kind of plan accordingly. Maybe it's some meal prepping. Maybe it's just kind of going about your day of, okay, if you're a snacker, which sometimes I am, I just kind of, make sure, I'm doing some things differently where I'm not going to be snacking as much. But yeah, just 80% clean. That's what I try to do. So,
That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for sharing everything with us and with NFPT viewers and anybody else that sees this video. And is there anything else that you want to share before we close out?
no, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Beverly, for having me, on today. You've done an amazing job, especially I've been watching your videos with Aaron. It's been really great. And I just think this is just a great opportunity to be able to share my story. And I just want to say thank you for having me on.
Yeah, well, we'll get this video rolling out for you so we can share it. And anybody that's watching this, if you found it helpful, please share it with other people. And Ian's definitely somebody to maybe you'll be a mentor someday for people. And I was gonna say earlier, I've been to Todd Durkin's facility many times because I used to live in San Diego, and your facility was making me think about his story. He started with an upstairs space, very small, and then he expanded, and now he's got this probably like he might not even have quite as much as you. I think he's got like 5,000 square feet, but that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate in the past. When I first started out, I went to, and I know you speak for Idea World Conference. So actually, I met Todd a couple of times. He was actually performing better this past summer in Providence. But I remember talking to him back in 2013, so a year before I opened opened the gym. And I'd pick his brain. It was just like, because he shared his story from 2000 when he first started, and all the adversity he went through, and you could tell I was kind of like on the edge of like, okay, do I want to make this big jump to opening up an actual gym? And he just told me, quite frankly, it's just like, it's got to be here. It's got to be here. And if it is, you owe it to yourself to follow through with that. And so I always kept that in the back of my mind. It took me a year later to take action on it. But it was something that did get me to that next level is, okay, you can get comfortable and being in your comfort zone, but it's like anything else. You ask your clients, for us, we ask our clients to get very much out of their comfort zone, but they got to get a little out of their comfort zone. And for me, with the expansion now, but also it's kind of relates quickly to even starting back up the gym. Originally, it's getting out of your comfort zone. And so that advice definitely helped me out quite a bit. And that was probably one of the big reasons why I actually just took the plunge, because it's like, you know what, it is possible. I can do this.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
so his,
That's a
I think that was
Yeah, that's a great thing to end on. That it's got to be here. That's what everybody says. So, well, thank you so much, Ian.